Welcome to another Electro Beard Miniatures painting tutorial. This is the second video I'm doing for Mantic on the brand new Terrain Crate Kickstarter. This time I'm doing some sci-fi scatter terrain, and for this one I'm going to go for a grimdark look using oil washes, and also I'm going to show you how to use the transparent colours from Pro Acryl. So on top of a black primer, I used a medium grey from Pro Acryl to do a first dry brushed highlight, almost like a pre-highlight. And following that, I used white to do a final dry brush to bring out the final details of the pre-highlight. So for the video I just focused on one or two pieces, but as you can see from all this different collection, I did do them all at the same time. And from the Kickstarter you can see you have corner pieces as well as some crates and barrels. So to add some colour, I used transparent blue from Pro Acryl, and this is kind of like a thick ink in some ways. So you can see from the pre-highlight that it goes on quite smooth, and you can still see the recesses where the black primer is, but also it brings the highlights of the white out as well. So I gave all the inner panels a good coverage of this, including going over it again in some of the corners just to add a bit more shadow. For the rubble and the mud, I used again from Pro Acryl one of the transparent range, and this time brown. And I did much the same thing as with the inner panels. I just went over it, and you can see the recesses keep their dark shadow from the primer. And again, the highlights are kept intact from the raised areas, just due to the nature of the paint. So for the metallics, I used Scalecolor Thrash metal, and I went around all the different raised paneling, the vents, and the kind of window detail. As you can see, just gave that one coat. This is a fairly medium metallic, so it goes over quite nicely. To add a spot colour to the terrain piece, I painted the pipes the transparent orange again from Pro Acryl. I think the orange added a nice contrast to the blue, and when we do the weathering later, I think it really works. So back to dry brushing. For the rubble, I used AK's cork colour, and I think it gave a nice highlight to the existing brown we used. And for the final bit of dry brushing, I used Snow Blue by AK, and that was just centered around the middle of the inner panels to bring out the blue. So you could stop there if you wanted to. I think these pieces look perfectly good as they are for any tabletop game that you wanted to play. But we're going to take it a step further by adding oil paints and doing a real grimy looking finish to the miniatures using oil washes. So first up, we take a mixture of this brown wash oil paint and some black and give that a mix, and then thin it right down with some white spirits just so it gets to this kind of consistency. Then we're going to do something quite drastic and cover the entire model with this mixture. And I know it looks horrible and I know it looks heartbreaking because of all the effort we've put in, but when we get to the sponge work, you'll see where we're going with it. So with some makeup sponges and a little bit of white spirits, we can get to work on removing the highlighted areas from the terrain piece, and just by dragging it off, you go through quite a lot of sponge, but by dragging it off, you'll see the highlights come back, but it also leaves that residue and a really grimdark, grimy looking terrain piece. So to finish off, I went back in just to reinforce the highlight again with the cork paint on the rubble, and then we added some special effects paints. The first one was Rust by Vallejo, and the second one was Verdigris again by Vallejo, and these just add a bit of weathering and rust colours to the damaged areas. Then one final thing was just to reinforce the metallics, just used the Thrash metal again from Scalecolor, just to add a bit of brightness, but I didn't want to destroy the weathered look, so it was very little paint. So this is what the final pieces look like, and I hope you like them. I'll catch you in the next one.